The concept of Nazism was an applied biology introduced by Adolf Hitler. He claimed the Aryan race was the eugenic ideal, with eugenics being the practice of improving humanity through selective mating. He then recruited public health organizations, which were now aimed at eliminating the inferior genes from the population. These inferior people, especially Jewish people, were purged from society and removed from systems like public health care and hospitals. However, with the impending national death of the Nazi population, the declining birth rate had to be dealt with. This led to the introduction of the Marital Health Law of 1935, which banned union between those who were racially fit and those who weren't. To ensure success, childbirth was encouraged and celebrated, with the Nazi mother being a cornerstone of population growth. Offices were also created to combat factors that lower reproduction, like the Reich Central Office for Combating Homosexuality and Abortion. To get even closer to the perfect race, the Nazi dictatorship enacted the Law for the Prevention of Offspring with Hereditary Diseases of 1933. This was based on the voluntary sterilization law of Prussia that targeted people with various mental disabilities, including schizophrenia and depression. These were decided on in special hereditary health courts that were manned by various geneticists and psychiatrists, though sterilization was the usual verdict. The patients were sterilized via vasectomies for men and the fatally dangerous tubal ligation procedure for women. To complete their plan, the Nazi regime introduced the Blood Protection Law of 1935, which prohibited marriage and sexual relations between Jewish and non-Jewish Germans. This is accompanied by the mass murder of only over 200,000 disabled citizens, ranging from infants with Down syndrome to elderly mental patients, through the Nazi euthanasia programs, which took lives via the use of starvation, drugs, and the use of gas.
Why did it happen? The Nazi racial cleansing was driven by a complex of interplay of historical, social, and ideological factors. Hitler's extreme anti-Semitism contributed to the deeply ingrained prejudice, which was supplemented by scientific theories of racial superiority. The Nazis believed that purging society of undesirable elements, mainly Jews, disabled individuals, and others deemed racially inferior, would lead them to the creation of racially pure and supposedly superior civilization. A group of people who were targeted due to these reasons were the hero and Nema people.
Good evening, class. Dr. Chandler. My group mate, sorry I couldn't be there with y'all today for these wonderful presentations, but we're going to go ahead and get right into it with the who did the affecting and when. So if y'all have noticed throughout the presentation, y'all kind of already know one of the main hitters in this would be Adolf Hitler and his Nazi army. But what you guys really don't know is that they also had allies that participated in this cleansing, which consisted of the Kingdom of Italy and the Empire of Japan. And I read in a couple articles that also there were followers like husbands, wives, and even children that played a long part alongside Hitler and those allies to do this cleansing that they did against the people. So the ethnic cleansing took place between the years of 1933 and 1939. And if you were to include the Holocaust, which we're not really going to touch on that subject, but that took place between 1933 and 1945. So if you conduct all of that and put that all into perspective, that's a total of 12 years that he did this cleansing, which was horrendous. So looking at the pictures on the slide, we're going to start with the top one. Of course, that's a picture right there of Hitler and his regime, his army, his followers. To the right there with the red and white looking rays, that's Japan. And if you look right there toward the bottom, that is the Kingdom of Italy. So in retrospective, I hope that you all kind of learned something a little bit more that you didn't know so far throughout this PowerPoint. And I'm just giving you guys a little hint. Just make sure you're paying attention, because at the end, there's going to be a surprise for you. I think you guys are going to enjoy. Have a great day.
Those affected by the Nazi racial cleansing include people that did not support the Nazi agenda, and also those that did not have the ideal Aryan look. This includes the Roma Gypsies and Sintis. 23,000 were sent to what were known as gypsy camps, and there 21,000 died. However, historians estimate that up to 1.5 million Roma died in total. Anti-Nazi activists and politicians are among those targeted for not supporting the Nazi agenda, and Soviet soldiers that became Soviet prisoners of war were the second largest group to die during the Nazi cleansing. Almost 6 million were captured, and of that, 3.3 million died during captivity. Poles, Slavs, Russians, and Czechs were targeted because their nationality prevented them from being considered pure Aryan. However, Afro-Germans were targeted not because of their nationality, but because their skin color interfered with the ideal Aryan look. Additionally, those with mental disorders, physical disabilities, genetic diseases, and identifying as gay were targeted because they were considered genetically inferior.
The Nazi racial cleansing was located primarily in Germany, but also had its effects on other countries like the United States and Western Europe. Nazi concentration camps were also used throughout Germany, and this is where they would put people who they felt were unclean or worthy to be a part of their society. During this time, there was about 44,000 concentration camps that were used.
So, what was the outcome of the Nazi racial cleansing? Though there are countless effects of the Nazi racial cleansing all around the world, we're going to focus on 3 today. So, the Nazi racial cleansing caused the destruction of families, stopped ancestral lines. People would have had their family names, but they were destroyed. Tragically, some families were extinguished due to the systematic murder of their members. It left many of their loved ones to never be reunited. It also caused a loss of culture. Now, because of the murder of so many people of one group, especially Jews, it led to the loss of their unique culture and their intellectual contributions. Some of them were professors, scientists, doctors that were murdered, and stopping the continuation of the innovation of that society, that group of people.